Hello, welcome to week 28 of me talking my mind. Last week was very interesting. I have met very few interesting people and also I have heard about some news. The week goes very fast while you are working full time. During the last week I have met a Sudanese man. Something he said interesting was in Sudan people are fighting against each other. And while we were talking, something he revealed was UN coming to their country saying they are peacemakers and then they give weapons for people to protect themselves and then they kill each other. And he have migrated to Australia and he said if you don't have a gun you are not safe there, and when you have a gun you just kill each other. And UN, they say they are the peacemakers, but they are the one who is creating conflict between ethnicities. When people find hard to provide their basic needs, they come to those countries as someone who represent the peace and who wants to do better projects in their countries. Most of the time, those projects are leading into dividing people, and also their main objectives become stealing the wealth in those countries. Something he said is they just stay in that country till they can get everything they can and then leave. And for example, he mentioned Afghanistan. They were there for more than 20 years and now the people, what's the best thing happened to Afghanistan? Nothing much. They say they were peacemakers and stayed for 20 years, more than 20 years, spent trillions of dollars and gained all the resources and then they left. And he was saying the same thing happening to Iraq as well. Happened to Iraq and Libya. Before they were coming to Libya, Gaddafi was providing all the facilities needed for people to live peacefully and to survive. They were given health care, houses, education. But even right now, Americans doesn't have health care. And during the last week, UN have said that Israel is targeting children purposely, that they are targeting children purposefully. And in response, Israel have said, did you forget about October 7th? Did you know what happened on October 7th? How many people have died? That's the only excuse they are saying. So let's say Israel as a country, they have a right to defend, right? So defending means not going into another territory and attacking those people. That is not defending. Defending means if someone attacks you, then you defending. And because of human fear, defending has gone so much far away. When people live in fear, they can't think properly. And what they do is, they just try to eliminate all the future threats that they are claiming that can be threats. They try to eliminate all those threats. And when humans do that, what will happen? The more people will start to hate those countries when they are attacking people like that. In an article I have seen, when Israel trying to defend themselves, did they lost their soul? Because in this earth, even animals defend themselves when someone is attacking them. They don't plan ahead in order to kill someone. But humans can think, right? Humans have emotions and they can think. So because of that fear of emotion, the emotion of fear, they plan ahead and destroy innocent lives and their survival. Long ago, I have heard that the Prime Minister of Israel is saying that Israel have the most moral and ethical army in the world. If they are so moral and so ethical, do you think they can target children deliberately, saying that these children will grow up into being terrorists? If those children migrate to another country, does still those children will turn up to be terrorists? I don't think so. If it supposed to make them terrorists in the future, that's only because of their environment. And imagine if you are Lebanon or if you are in Palestine, if someone attacked your land where you live with your loved ones and where you provide the resources that you need to survive, when someone invade those lands as a man, what would you do? It is the same for Israel. Now they are saying they're defending themselves because they are men and men can't do nothing when someone invading them, right? When someone corrupting, disrupting their way of survival, men can't stay without doing nothing. And that is the same thing applies for other humans in other countries and the world as well. So when those men, children, when they grow up into being adults, when they don't have money to travel into another country and live, they will stay in those countries, and when they grow up to be young men, they will have strength, and only thing people are looking for meaning to live. And when someone is disturbing your way of living, they will get together and form an organization and fight against who is invading your land. And the other party comes to the media and say, these people are terrorists, they are targeting us. But if you look who attacked first, you will never find who will attack first. Because if someone say they attack first, other party will bring up, no, they attack first. Then the other party will bring up, no, this party attack first. So you can't find the roots where the conflict started, right? Even in Lebanon they say Hezbollah is a terrorist organization. But when I search on Google, it says Hezbollah was established because of Israel invasion. Before Israel invasion, there was no Hezbollah. So if you ask from the men in Hezbollah, they are also human. If you ask them, why are you fighting? They will have a reason. They say, we did not exist before Israel invaded our country. We were just men who were living in Lebanon. And when another country is attacking us, when they want to fulfill their greater project, we can't just stay without doing nothing. We are men as well, with a backbone. So when someone is attacking us, our children, our families, our communities, how can we stay without doing anything? So we have to get together and think about something to resist the invasion. And when an organization is formed, there are always people who are ready to fund money and give resources for them to fight back. And most of the time we don't know who is funding them, who is backing them. Maybe it can be the same people indirectly supporting those organizations, because to them to be hero or to them to fulfill their project, there must be an enemy. If they don't have an enemy, how can they justify attacking countries and occupying lands? That won't be moral. So they want to represent in the world as moral country, ethical country, that they are doing the right thing, so that they have to be the good guys, right? For them to be the good guys, there should be a bad guy. So in media, they can create the narration, they can show the narration, what they want you to see, not what is truly happening. What is truly happening is, in both the sides, there are humans, children, women who want to survive, who want to find food, shelter, and live with safety. That is what all the humans in the world needs. No matter where you come from, no matter where you are born, no matter what religion you believe in, we all humans want the same thing. And for long time we have exposed to media, right? Newspapers, radio, then television. But we never question who is showing These news, do they show us what we want us to see, or do they show what they want you to see? We never question. Our parents never questions because our parents didn't have even this much of knowledge. Right now we have a mobile phone in our hand. We can search anything and find out about anything. But our parents, they were struggling to survive more than us. They were seen on media and heard on television and saw on newspapers only what they want you to see. Right? We have heard that journalists are being killed. Why? Journalists are the ones who is putting the news in the media. And if a journalist is putting something on the media that is not helping your agenda, not helping your vision, what they do is they just eliminate that journalist. And I have seen a report of journalists who have been killed during wars. In the history, in every war, there were not much journalists have been killed. I can search and tell you the number, but I can't remember the number. But I can't remember. Since the Palestine Gaza war has started, I think around 260 journalists have murdered. That is the most number of journalists ever killed during a war. So why they are targeting journalists? You have to question. Because when they can't control the journalists who are showing the truth to the world, those journalists disrupt your vision, disrupt your agenda. What they can do is only murder the journalist. Because journalists are doing a much harder job. They just go into areas where conflict is happening and they try to show the truth to the world. Show the truth to the world. But when some governments, some people, some organizations don't want people to see the truth happening in the world, the truth happening in those areas, they can't stop those journalists without eliminating them. So when you eliminate a journalist, they no longer exist to show the truth happening in the world, and they can place their journalist and shape the narrative for the world so that they can be the good guys and the other party can be the bad guys. The human mind is conditions like that. In a mind, in a mind of a human, to exist, for there to be a hero, there should be an enemy, there should be a bad guy. That is the human psychology simply. And another thing I have seen during the past week is that Donald Trump saying that there were no any socialist country that existed in the world that did good for the people for over thousands of years. They say capitalists are the people who are doing the hard work and they should exist because they have done the hard work and they should have a reward. And the reward for them to do the hard work is the money printed by banks out of thin air. That is the simplest reward they give or you can receive from this existing system, right? But collecting that reward for the hard work you do you think that will fulfill the purpose of being a human? Do you think collecting more and more money will fulfill the purpose of being a human? I don't think so. Anyone can do anything and may find some paper money. But in the end, it is what you have done. The intention, good or bad, you have done while you are living on this earth, not how much paper money you have collected. Even I was talking with two young people during the last week and they have said the same thing. They said the biggest threat for this human society is capitalism, because for capitalism to exist there must be exploitation. For people to collect more and more money, there must be other people who should be working for them, maybe for less wages or not, but still there should be more and more people in the world who should be working for them. But with the technology that is emerging in the world, they can automate everything with AI, and that is what they are trying to do for the future. So in the future there won't be much humans working for them, and there will be robots who do the work for them, and they can collect more and more money, and they can maintain their status. Another interesting thing one of the guys said is that those students, when they study, when they do a degree, when they finish the degree, they are in so much debt, and their leaders are the ones who is creating those policies. And the interesting part was the leader who is establishing those policies also get their education for free during their time. Imagine a human who got their education for free from the government is coming to the power and establishing policies for students to get in more in depth when they finish their studies. Should we live in so much stress for studying and living in debt? This is the current system. When you see what is happening in the society, right? Whatever you do is the current existing system. I'm not saying everything in this system is bad. There are good things as well. Even our ancestors tried to do everything thinking they are doing the right thing. At that moment, it can be the right thing. But a system where rewarding more and more growth lead into competition. And a human who is conditioned into more and more competition will never feel the pain of another human, will never care to think from another person's perspective, because he is too obsessed with the competition, he is too obsessed with the reward. He forget that their neighbor also another human who is just like them, who were born without knowing anything in this world, and who will leave this earth one day without taking anything from this world. Whatever you are doing here, only stay here. You won't take anything. But while we are living here, if we forget about our neighbor, it breaks the principles of each and every religion in the world. Even in Christianity, they say love your neighbor. But how can you even think about your neighbor when you are too obsessed with collecting more and more money? But it is not their fault as well. They are born into this system. That is what we have to understand. These systems, these policies are created by humans who were born without knowing anything at one time. And what they are contributing to the system is something they have learned, and they are adding their opinion, their knowledge into the existing system, and we call it evolution. But this is the time to think as a collective humanity in the world. We have divided into schools, countries, states, parties. In everywhere we were divided. Even we are fighting for football teams, right? That is how our mentality is shaped from our childhood, because we were conditioned into choose a party, and we were conditioned into getting attached to that identity. So why humans react or fight to defend an identity? We have to think about that. To think about that, first we need to understand about human. We have to understand about ourselves. What are we attached to? What are the attachments we have in our life? You know that humans are species who are trying to survive. That is how we have evolved. Long time ago, the stronger species are the ones who remain, and even we are coming from them, from some part. For us to exist, there should be so many people fighting and fighting. But now we are living in a time where we are connected through the technology that is created by humans. Even they were also born without knowing anything, each and every human. And throughout the history, many people fought for peace, but no one learned about the human psychology. No one learned about why we have a urge to fight. No one questions about, is there any other possible way for us to live in peace? To live in peace, we have to understand about human. We have to understand about the human needs. When a well-fed man who is safe enough to sleep will not fight, if they are safe enough to sleep and they have food to fulfill their hunger, and when they can educate their children, what is the reason for them to fight? Humans have so many things to do instead of fighting. But right now, soldiers, innocent people, even they became soldiers because they were brainwashed to become soldiers, and that is one of the options for them to choose along their life to become a soldier. And when they join the army, they will go through so many trainings. They were brainwashed to do whatever they asked them to do, and they were made to belong in that group, and they were given a purpose to fight. It's all human psychology. Most of the powerful people in those positions understand those human psychology, and they use the same human psychology to fulfill their agendas, to fulfill their visions, to keep and maintain their status, to protect their wealth, protect their titles. Why? Because they have an attachment towards their titles, their worldly resources, their power, their control. I have said this in so many videos beforehand. When humans don't understand their attachment towards their attachments, they make unconscious decisions. When they are so busy trying to protect what they believe is theirs, they don't have the time to think more openly or hear about more ideas that can lead into peace, because they think if they don't make enough money, they won't be able to survive. But that is not the truth. We can create systems where we all can have access to resources, education, healthcare, and live peacefully. But if humans create systems on their own and do that, how those powerful people can carry out their agendas, the visions they have created long time ago? Maybe those visions were passed down from their parents, grandparents, and when they were repeated, those visions, those ideologies over and over again, the next generation also get attached to those ideologies. And when they were only exposed into those systems where they can provide money for their survival, they will keep continuing the same way for their survival. Because for them to survive, there must be continuous money flow into their bank accounts. Because from what I have learned from my life is, if you are getting paid $4,000, your lifestyle will be shaped around that $4,000. If you are making $8,000, your lifestyle is created around that $8,000. And imagine when a wealthy man who have billion dollars, his lifestyle will shape around that $1 million. And due to inflation, they create a fear in their mind. So they can't make the same amount every month. They want to make more and more each and every month to maintain their survival and try to eliminate their fear inside their mind. Everything happening in the world because many people can't manage the emotion of fear in their mind. Most of the decisions in the powerful positions are shaped from emotions, mostly from fear. Even in America, now they are trying to have a peace deal on papers. Is that a true peace deal? They say they give $300 billion to Iran for the compensation of the destruction happened in Iran. But they are not giving it to the government. They are trying to get Iran into the dollarized system, and even they invest those billions of money for their own projects that they carry out in Iran. And most of the people believe that peace deal will help the midterm election in US. I don't know what the midterm election is, but I can see that the midterm election is important for the people who are in power. See, right now, they get few years to be in power, right? For them to maintain that position, they have to think, focus, and do everything they can do to keep that power within themselves. So when they know there's an election coming, they know they have to shape the narration in people's mind in order for them to get the support from people to continue their work. That is almost happening in each and every country. Right now, most of the leaders prioritize their time and energy into thinking about how they maintain their power, how they maintain their image, public image, how they maintain their identity. So if you are thinking that humanity is evolving beyond that kind of leadership, we have to think about what kind of better leadership would be there to serve the people. Because the leadership, a leader of a country, their job and responsibility is to think about millions of people. We have to understand that more clearly. Their job is to prioritize the millions of people before their image, power, wealth. Because think about it. The leaders are created from the collective intelligence of people, right? Before we had kings, when humans wanted a leader, we have appointed kings. And kings have done their best to maintain their country. But after people understood, when the children of kings are appointed into power, they don't know the hardships their parents have gone through, right? Imagine if there's a king who have gone through hardships, who see the injustice happening in the world, they come into the power and make the country justice, right? And their children who haven't gone through any of that don't know the pain of injustice. So when they have all the resources for them to survive, they will need more and more to fulfill themselves. So slowly that lineage of kings get corrupted, right? And after that, people were taught that these kings don't care about us anymore. The kings only care about their family and the only people around them. So because of that reason, humanity evolved into prime ministers and presidents. And we have written laws that keep the balance of the society. But right now, even that system has evolved into a point where prime ministers and presidents are corrupted. They only think about themselves, their family, and their surrounding, and their power, and their survival. They write laws each and every day in order to keep the people in order so they can carry out their agendas, their plans. So I believe the time of presidents and prime ministers are coming to an end. It is time for us to think what kind of leaders would do better. What kind of leaders would do better? That is the question we got to ask ourselves for our survival, for our next generation, for our children to survive in this world and to feel fulfilled, thrive in this world. Each and every job in the world need a qualification, right? But for the biggest job in the world, to care about millions of people, prioritize them and create systems for them to survive, get access to resources in the world to survive. For the biggest job in the world, the most responsible job in the world, still we are not asking for a qualification. We just elect the most popular person, right? Most popular person who makes us feel better when the election is near. And they do that by spending a lot of money in the media because they know what media can do to get your vote. And they are also, the leaders are also not much rich people. So those people must be funded by other organizations in order to broadcast your vision, right? The more stuff you give them, the more popularity you get. The more you are visible in media, the more popularity you get. For the same reason, they have to spend millions of dollars. And who are spending those millions of dollars? Some organization that even we never heard of. We don't know who spent that money. But as for human psychology, when someone helps you in order to get into a position, you create a gratitude towards that person, right? So whoever elected can come into the media and just sweet talk, give you hopes, but we don't know who they are having dinner with, whose beliefs are integrated in your leader's mind. We don't know that. So right now is the golden time in our civilization, the best time. We have to think about a proper qualification to be in that position. So any of the people, any of the human who want to be in that position have to go through that qualification and have to show that they are the best one to care for millions of people, because in the end it is about caring for millions of people that you even never meet in your whole life. You don't get to meet. You meet very few people, but the person who is suitable for that position, who is qualified for that position, must prioritize those millions of people before they are thinking about the financial gains for themselves and the people around them, before they are thinking to maintain their power, before they are thinking to maintain their public image. And those humans should be trained in empathy, communication, emotional intelligence. They must have studied about their own psychology, their own attachments. And when we elect those kind of leaders into the most responsible job in the world, then there will be peace on this earth and there will be more fulfilled humans on this earth. That is for sure. Because simply their job is to think, focus, and prioritize millions of people and create systems for ordinary people to have access for resources in the world. The resources of the world are for everyone. So it is only about managing those systems and managing the proper distribution of those resources. And then there won't be any humans left on earth who needs to fight.